Friday Night SmackDown is in the books, which means we are only a day or so away from Survivor Series. As we now know, Survivor Series has a stipulation attached to it. Much like TLC or Hell in a Cell, every time we do get to the November pay-per-view, it's going to be brand versus brand, or in this case, brand versus brand versus brand, and we will do that until the day we are dead. It is that very reason why last night's show was a little bit up and a little bit down, but that works for me because my name is Simon Miller. I have a show called Ups and Downs. You must know that because you've clicked on it. Let's up those downs for SmackDown. So Roman Reigns doesn't really understand what a metaphor is. At the start of SmackDown, he literally opened a door, like we actually saw like a gate thing moving up in the air, and said, if Raw or NXT want to attack us, I have opened the door. Roman, you can just say that, and figuratively we understand what you mean. Roman also bickered with Corbin as every single SmackDown wrestler was stood there in a blue shirt until Sasha Banks got involved and said, look men, calm down. I just want everybody to know that the women's division will beat anybody up if they dare step foot on our turf. Now I understand why WWE had to do this. It just ties into all my worries that I had a few months ago. And as we already talked about in the intro, it is that Survivor Series has now become a stipulation event where you have, brand versus brand, in this case, brand, but you don't actually serve the story. You serve the event first and you build a narrative around that, and you get situations like this, which makes absolutely no sense because we've had people feuding with each other, who are meant to have blood feuds and hate each other, just hanging out because they really care about the colour of their top. It's even worse this year because 6 weeks ago, some people who are now going to die for the blue brand weren't even on it to begin with. They were on Raw, or they couldn't even get on TV. So when you take that, and the fact we're just throwing personal feuds in the toilet, it was all very, very silly. The SmackDown women's team then came to the ring as a united force, and two of those people were Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross, and there is no way they should be standing side by side from each other because, again, over the last few weeks, it has been proved that they hate each other. All this nonsense then got even more mad because Team Raw turned up, and I put my hand up, even though no one was around. I wanted someone to ask my question, and I said, why did Brock Lesnar quit SmackDown to move to Raw when apparently all you can do is walk through the door that, yes, Roman Reigns opened? I know, I'm being extra negative, but if you have watched Ups and Downs for any length of time, you know that this is the hill I choose to die on. It just really irks me. That happens with all works of life. This is the thing that grinds my gears, and because of all of that, down. Charlotte Flair said she wanted to fight Sasha Banks for old time's sake, and that is when Team NXT arrived, and I think we figured out who is going to be in the Survivor Series match, because, up until this point, WWE just decided not to tell us. But it's Mia Yim, Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley wasted no time because she was like, Sasha, you're a captain. Charlotte, you're a captain. I'm a captain. Let's have a triple threat match. And they did. After a brief brawl, we did actually have that fight. And now I've got all my, ranting and raving that I did at the start of the video out the way. Of course, this was good. It's always nice to see new matchups, especially on a program like SmackDown. Get enough. And I will give some credit to WWE because they did tease the idea of infighting here. At one point, Rhea Ripley just pushed Sasha Banks into Nikki Cross, and those two started to go at it because, of course, that they would. They don't like each other. I know they don't like each other, so if there's any kind of catalyst for them to start yelling, that's what should go down. And look, I can't get mad at the finish, even if we did use the most devastating move in all of WWE, the surprise roll-up, although this was more of a surprise crucifix. But look, Rhea Ripley, she of NXT fame, did do that to Charlotte Flair, who looked absolutely shocked. And I like that. Now, my worry is that WWE only did this because Team NXT is going to get absolutely mullered at Survivor Series. But let's live in the moment. Let's live in right now. You love to see it. It caused a proper fight between Team Raw and Team SmackDown as Team NXT just looked on and laughed. But look, it has made me more intrigued about Sunday. For some reason, we then found out that our main event is actually going to be King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Bobby Roode taking on Roman Reigns, Ali, and Shorty G. And that, again, is absolutely perplexing because if you really cared about Team SmackDown and you really wanted Team SmackDown to beat Team Raw, you wouldn't take your main guys and have them punch each other in the face 48 hours before. Anyway, the King and his minions were having a chat here because they're just miserable people, and then Sami Zayn rocked up. Baron Corbin looked at him and went, "You're really annoying," and Sami Zayn went, "Why don't you come to the ring and say it to my face?" Sami, he did say it to your face. Like, location doesn't matter. Bayley also let us know that she will be victorious at the pay-per-view and said she expects to see Shayna Baszler this evening, but not Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch is a chump. I know this is probably going to cause some controversy. I like the new Intercontinental Title belt. Give it up. Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami did arrive on the scene, and that's the first thing they did. Zayn had it in a black bag, he pulled it out, it looks lovely. And while it is a shame that the classic IC title is now dead and gone, I think we need to look at the bigger picture here. We haven't done anything with that championship since around about 1242, so if this serves as a catalyst to actually make it mean something, then count me in. That's exactly what I want to see go down. Also, if you forget about nostalgia, it's a really, really good looking piece of tin. That seemed to be all they wanted to do on this evening, because when the Undisputed Era interrupted them, they just left. I tell you who didn't know, the New Day, and they marched out to look at the NXT guys right in the face. They also challenged them to a match, and the Undisputed Era agreed to this because they thought it was going to be 4-on-2, but it wasn't, because who came out to make it 4-on-4? Heavy Machinery. Give it up. Again, I have a horrible feeling we only did this because in around about 24 hours time, NXT is going to be absolutely destroyed, but that's just me panicking, that's just me worrying. Let's wait and see. And again, the narrative thread of the evening did continue here, because Kingston fell on Otis at one point, and that meant Tucker and Big E, everybody was mad. So there's your story. NXT is a united front, but Raw and SmackDown, they have kinks in the armor. This was very good though, and seeing it on this evening absolutely rocked. I mean, you could argue it was a little bit of a dream match, especially when we talk about the finish, because Roderick Strong just kneed Tucker right in his face, and he got the 1, 2, 3. I hope you enjoy losing on Sunday, Roderick, and the aftermath of this was probably even better, because Roderick Strong and Shinsuke Nakamura were then staring off before AJ Styles almost literally appeared from nowhere. He must be listening to Randy Orton, and he started throwing bombs of his own. This upset Sami Zayn, that chased everybody off with a steel chair, but the OC was still out there, and AJ Styles started to cut a promo. The crowd started to chant CM Punk because we were in Chicago, which Styles shut down brilliantly by saying, oh yeah, well if he was here, I'd kick his ass as well. And then all of this transitioned into everything between Daniel Bryan and The Fiend. It was a bit like a non-stop roller coaster train of madness. And what can I say too? I'm a sucker for old school madness. Give it up. Daniel Bryan was adamant that he wasn't out there to talk about yes chants or the environment, and he just wanted Bray Wyatt to make himself known so they could have a big fight. Then the lights went out, but he didn't get Bray Wyatt, and instead he got the Miz. Much like the Batman and the Joker, I guess these two are just going to be enemies forever, because almost instantly they were yelling at each other. They were super pissed off. That led to a match between the Miz and Daniel Bryan, and you can already figure out where this is going to go. After some decent action, it seemed like Daniel Bryan was going to embrace the yes movement once again, because he put his hands in the air and he looked towards the sky. But before we could find out whether he was going to do that or not, the lights went out again, and when they reappeared, or at least that weird red dim thing appeared, it was The Fiend, and he took his fingers and he stuck them down Daniel Bryan's throat. Now, the strange thing about this segment was when The Fiend did appear, he was in the exact same position that The Miz was. So a small part of me, and obviously this isn't the case, but a small part of me was like, does that mean The Miz and The Fiend are now one? No, but if you did take that away from this, I wouldn't blame you. We kept on going and going, because then all of a sudden Shayna Baszler was coming out to the ring, and she just got on a microphone and went, look Bayley, I ain't hiding, I ain't being a coward like you think I am, why don't you drag your ass out here and I'll whip it up. That's not what Bayley did though, because being the hypocrite that she is, she then attacked Shayna Baszler from behind, and these two started having a brawl. And I tell you, I just like Shayna Baszler. You'll know that if you watch my videos a lot, because even when she is just rolling around, it looks like she's actually having a fight. Bayley was then a hypocrite once again, because after she had pushed Shayna Baszler into the steps, she legged it. So as you have figured out, Shayna Baszler will have a fight. Bayley is a cowardly turtle. And then it was our main event, and this is so overplayed by this point because we do it every single year. When you take everything into account, it was entertaining. Give it up. However, before we do get there, I do need to mention everything about Michael Cole this evening, because not only throughout this entire main event was he saying, I can't believe for the first time ever we're going to see NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown on Sunday, even though we just have a 2-hour show. When I saw NXT versus SmackDown for the whole entire time, I should have mentioned it during the tag team match with Machinery and the New Day and Undisputed Era, but constantly Michael Cole kept going, Otis, he likes to have fun. Oh, Tucker, he likes to have fun. Oh, the New Day, he likes to have fun. Everyone likes to have fun. It was just too much. It was just too much. It became really, really grating. And again, especially during all of this bit when he kept going on about how exclusive and amazing Survivor Series is going to be, even though we'd already seen it. I understand what we're trying to do here. I understand he tries to sell stuff, but it really takes you out the game. Down. Anyway, it was Corbin, Rude and Ziggler taking on Roman Reigns, Ali and Shorty G, and they absolutely whooped each other because, like I say, they don't care about brand warfare, they care about the people they don't like. And that was especially true when Shorty G got launched into the announce table by Bobby and Dolph. It looked like he was dead. Rest of this is irrelevant though, because after around about 10 minutes, Team Raw went, oh, I think now is the time that we should invade, and they came through the crowd, led by Seth Rollins, and they did indeed attack. We did have one cool moment when Seth and Roman Reigns were throwing digs at each other, but before you knew it, it was just a sea of red shirts and blue shirts. It was like an actual battle. We then cut to the back where we saw Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and the Road Dogg driving a Hummer to the ring. And that must have annoyed Daniel Bryan, because that man, the emissions of that thing, there is no need. And they were also accompanied by the NXT roster who got involved with this war. Now, again, talking about the commentary, why Michael Cole had to compare this to DX in 1998, I don't know. I know that was what they were going for, but hands up if that's what you wanted to see. Hand goes down. Keith Lee and Braun Strowman had a little bit of a stare-off, which I presume will be paid off on Sunday, and we went off air with everybody on every single brand trying to kill each other. So it was obvious, it happens every year, but look, it does work. It did put a smile on my face, and overall, it was a pretty good episode of SmackDown, which built to the pay-per-view, and that's really what TV programs need to do. I mean, I have no idea what we're going to do come next Friday, because as we know, sometimes there's absolutely no fallout from Survivor Series, and we all feel like idiots. But again, living in the moment, living in the now, giving my spirit arrow, just getting it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture.
Simon, I really hate to keep doing this, man, but yet again, my name is in your mouth. And what was it this time? You wanted ups and clowns competition, me versus you, NXT versus main roster, and the loser has to present an episode of their show dressed as a clown. I mean, it's an interesting idea, man. I'll give you that. But if I wanted to give children nightmares, I would just show them some of your wrestling matches. But I have been giving it some thought, and why the hell not? I accept your challenge. I mean, hey, it might be fun to see you with hair again, even if it is just a rainbow wig. So yes, I cordially accept your challenge to this contest, and I will see you Sunday. Oh, yeah, sorry, while I've got you, can you do the ups and downs for TakeOver on Sunday, please? The cat is like really everywhere at the minute, so I've got to take it to the vet, and it's just a whole mess. I meant to message you, but let me know if that's all right. I think Chris is still going to edit, so yes, I'll speak to you Sunday.
My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching. And yes, look, I'll be back tomorrow to do NXT TakeOver ups and downs, because Adam Cleary is going to be taking care of the reactions for Survivor Series. And I'll be back on Monday to do ups and downs for Survivor Series. And talking about ups and downs, and talking about Survivor Series, and talking about Adam Cleary, don't forget my challenge. Ups and clowns, NXT versus main roster. When they scrap on the pay-per-view, if NXT wins, Adam Cleary gets a point. If the main roster wins, I get a point. And whoever has got the lowest point tally at the end of it has to dress up as a clown next week when they host Ups and Clowns. If you're now thinking, Simon, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, that's the point, but it's not as dumb as brand versus brand versus brand. See ya.